Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh, and we are doing this live so we can take some questions and answers if anybody has any. And if nobody shows up, it'll be just like a regular show. I want to start with the flag, the American flag. The first episode of the show was Fun with Flags, and Fun with Flags was a reference to Sheldon Cooper, fictional character in the TV show The Big Bang Theory. And in the first episode, it was I talked about the flag and the significance of the flag in the past, and the fact that I wasn't going to let a political party or a specific social group take the flag. And also in that episode, I referenced flag code. People calling themselves patriots while wearing the flag. The flag is not supposed to be worn. It's not a garment. It's not supposed to be used in advertising. There are flags with John Deere, okay? The colors of John Deere, green and yellow with the John Deere emblem where the stars and stripes go. That's disrespectful to the flag. And the reason I sit in front of the flag, as I said, is because it's got power, not like it used to, but it does have power, and there's power in perception. And I also said in the first episode, if protesters carried the American flag, it would be tremendous influence. But that's just my opinion. All right. The flag leads us to 9/11. 19 years ago, this country was as united as it's probably been since World War II. The country wasn't totally united, but on 9/11, there were heroes. There were heroes on Flight 93. There were heroes in the Pentagon. There were heroes at Ground Zero of the Twin Towers. And those heroes were firemen and policemen. And we still consider firemen heroes, but in too many cases, policemen have become villains, and it's of their own doing. 19 years ago, I was on the radio when it happened. I did a morning show on WIFE 100.3, and my co-host was a man named Randy Clemmy, and Randy and I were just about to wrap the show up when everything started happening. So I was broadcasting live and saw things on the TV as almost everyone else did, and was broadcasting about what was happening. And there was a feeling of feeling like I've never experienced before on that day 19 years ago. Now, 19 years later, the country's possibly more divided than it's ever been. We're divided by gender. We're divided by political parties, political ideologies. We're divided by, of course, we're divided by pigment of our skins. And I've got more questions than I have answers, but it's a shame that in 19 years we haven't progressed. It's a shame in 19 years we haven't progressed. We haven't moved forward as a country or as a nation or as people. And it just saddens me. Um, Before we get to questions, some other things I wanted to talk about today. George Floyd, the 4 officers involved in the killing of George Floyd, had a hearing today to ask that the case be dismissed. And instead, four of the county attorneys were dismissed and turned into witnesses because of a meeting they had with the medical examiner, and possibly trying to somehow influence the case one direction or another. Also, we've learned today through Dave Lackford, the attorney that joins the show, talked to us in the previous episode about the situation with the Breonna Taylor case legally. And in both situations, it seems like law enforcement has spent a lot of time trying to justify their behavior instead of investigating wrongdoing by the police. And we'll see how both of those cases play out. Also, I wanted to mention that the Angry Viking, we know where the Angry Viking is going next. October the 3rd, he's going to be in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And his group is going to march to the spot where the boy shot and killed the other one of the other young men that was present that night. The second killing, the boy's second killing of the night. And I've asked I've reached out several times to through different measures. I asked the Angry Viking to come on the show. I just want to know I want to know why he started the organization, how he started the organization, and where he sees it going, and the purpose of it. And of course, I want to know what his thoughts were on what actually happened in Louisville last Saturday. But the apparent next destination is going to be Kenosha, Wisconsin, on October the 3rd. And we have an inkling that the next destination for NFAC is going to be in Louisiana somewhere. Not surprising, since a congressman basically threatened to kill the NFAC if he saw them. Actually, his words, I believe, paraphrasing here, but he'd kill 10 without spilling a beer, he himself. So pretty inflammatory language. Not that Grandmaster Jay hasn't used inflammatory language at times, but those that don't know, the NFAC's the Not Fucking Around Coalition. It is a militia made up of members of the communities of color, and it's one of 4 national militias recognized by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And for those that don't know, the Angry Viking is a guy from Texas that believes in his whole heart that he's doing patriotic things. And like I said, I'd like to have him on the show, and I'd just like to hear his side of things. It's hard for me to get on board with the idea of patriotic things when it's a primarily Back the Blue movement. And again, I'm not anti-police. I'm anti-police brutality, and I'm also anti-racist. And this show is all about peace, justice, and equality. And the FBI has said that police are infested with white supremacists. And Homeland Security has said that white supremacists are the number one threat to peace in the United States. So we've got our number one threat to peace is within our own borders. And it seems like the police department, according to the FBI, has been infiltrated. I said infested, infiltrated by white supremacists. So we need to talk about those things. These things need to be talked about on a national level, not on just on the American Doofus show. It needs to be talked about, and it's brushed under the rug. So many things are brushed under the rug because they are uncomfortable. And damn, if you're comfortable in the environment you're in today, you're in a freaking bubble, or you're in a delusional frame of mind. Before I start taking questions, because that was the whole purpose of tonight, I want to put another call out. I said I invited the Angry Viking. I've reached out to Grandmaster Jay as well, but not surprising that he hasn't responded. He's got a pretty good platform of his own, but I would like to talk with him at some point, sometime. And also, I'm looking for somebody from the Black Lives Matter organization. I've reached out. I had a couple of contacts recommended to me, and I've reached out and haven't heard anything back. So let's start and just kind of. At first, I thought Doofus was a genuine white man, but I see he's just another sneaky, untrustworthy European that uses black people to his own benefit. He did it with Darren Harris, and he's using NFAC also. Jay, that's pretty inflammatory. I'm not sure why you think that way. I sure don't mean to come across that way. And I didn't use Darren Harris. I gave Darren Harris a platform to voice his feelings, and they weren't popular feelings. And I'll have Darren Harris back on again at some point. Just because things people believe aren't popular doesn't mean you don't listen, or at least in my opinion. And as far as the NFAC and using the NFAC, I really don't see how I'm using the NFAC. I'm probably one of the only white people on the internet that thinks the NFAC is a really good idea, because the more powerful they become, the more capable they are of balancing power from other groups. And in case you didn't miss it, the FBI says the police have been infiltrated by white supremacists, and white supremacists are the most dangerous thing, according to the Homeland Security, that America has going right now. So if I was using black people, or of any way, shape, or form, why would I be saying things like that? If I was using black people, I'd be more in line with, what the Angry Viking's trying to do by putting white people into categories. I'll just put it that way. Barry hates his parents because they are pale faces. The guy wants to be on the side of anarchy so bad that he wants Grandmaster Jay to impregnate him. That's asinine. This is probably going to be a real short live if this is the kind of thing. Browning, I've been called a racist so many times that I hate white people. I don't hate white people. I don't hate anybody. Purpose of this show is trying to break down barriers so that people will talk with each other. Just like having Devontae on the other night. And if you go back and listen to what Devontae said, you know, there's so much truth in his words, and I didn't in any way impede what he was saying. Are you an agent, and did you run for a political party? I have ran for office before, Jay, and no, I'm not an agent of any kind. I ran, actually, you go back, you can Google 2006, Mike Pence, Barry Welsh. And I ran against the now Vice President of the United States. And he had $1.5 million to spend. I had less than 50,000. And I did everything grassroots, and got 40% of the vote and had him scared for a long time. And if we'd have done a better job, he might not be vice president now, but he is. I think there are some Anquifa skinny jean wearing idiots up in here. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. You are on NFAC's payroll. No. As a matter of fact, I got a letter from UPS through UPS today that the job I was doing has been phased out and will not continue. So no, I'm currently looking for work. I'm not on anybody's payroll. Mentioned on previous slide, notice the difference from the first two formations. Yeah, Chris, my friend, we're acquaintances. We've never actually met in person, but Chris is very observant. Chris is a former Department of Defense contractor, and he has a security business, and he's very observant. And I did not notice that the decrease in numbers. Perhaps it was from the lives I was watching and the angles, etc. But from what Chris was observing, he noticed that there was a significantly less number, and he said he thought it was probably because that might have been from Delta Django. The question, I'm not sure. Yes, it was, and Chris mentioned the probability that was because the split between Delta Django and Grandmaster Jay. And I also did an episode where I talked about how I had no doubt that Delta Django was a warrior, and that I felt that they were both right, that they were coming at things from, as far as Grandmaster Jay and Delta Django, that they were coming at things from different viewpoints, but they were both right in their views. And Delta Django, I'd love to have you come on here. I'd love to have you. I'd love to do a Zoom and hear your side of things. And while I'm at it, something else I wanted to talk about: the NFAC is not the only group. Okay, there are other organizations, and I think I get the feeling that the white people usually don't think all the way. I'm sorry. Some white people don't think all the way through. Some white people play chess or play checkers while others are playing chess. And I think some in the white community think that, well, if the Angry Viking and Grandmaster Jay, and if those two groups ever collide, the Angry Viking will wipe out the NFAC and everything will be peaceful and be over with. And that's really ignorant. That's really ignorant. on so many levels. But I have a feeling that there are some in the white community that have that belief. Grandmaster Jay went to the World Court. I'm not aware of that, but okay. Naming yourself after an airline. Okay, I don't know if I'm not sure what that means. Naming myself after an airline. The Angry Viking seems like a good guy. I gave the Angry Viking kudos for leaving the square in Louisville when that could have been a bloodbath. I've watched a couple of his videos. I watched the most recent one where he announced where they were going, and something in that video bothered me. He said that anybody that shows a black fist or anything like that should be banned immediately, and it seemed a little racist to me. But that's his show, and he can do what he wants. I also learned that his son was murdered, so I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that happening. I've got 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters, and I can't imagine anything happening to them. So maybe that's why he's angry. Maybe there's more to that. I'm not quite ready to call him a good guy, but his move on Saturday by withdrawing from a potentially deadly situation, I think was a smart move, and I'd like to have him on the show. I'd like to talk to him and learn, because I've learned so much since I started doing this program, and I learned from everybody I talk to, as I've said before. And Delta Django, I'm serious, man. I'd like to have you come on, and you know, if you've seen an episode or two before, I do not impede my guests. I let my guests say what they have to say. I don't. It's not a confrontational show when I have guests on. I have them on for their opinions. I find I learn a lot more by listening than I ever do by talking. Do you think 9/11 was an inside job? Jerome Gorman. Man, there are some things that still 19 years later I question. But no, I think it was an attack on America by followers of Osama bin Laden, Al Qaeda, and we united for maybe 2 days, and then things started changing, and people started taking advantage of the situation in different forms, and we came away with restrictions and things that we should have never given up as far as American freedoms. Pardon me, please. NFAC is an idea, an important idea. People are expendable. Ideas can be forever. I think the NFAC is an important idea, and is an important entity to the Black community. No matter how large it actually is, there is a perception that hasn't been in the white community before, and that is that there's a large group of members of the communities of color that have united, and because they basically, and I said this, Grandmaster Jay tried protesting, he tried politics, and now he's using power, because the only thing that that some people recognize, especially those in power, is power. And the bigger the NFAC can get, the less likely anyone's going to attack it. So I see that as a good thing. Personally, from a socio-political standpoint, I think that the bigger the NFAC is, the more likely there will be peace. And I think Grandmaster Jay, his plan was always about it being a show of power, not necessarily conflict or even violence, but just a political show of power to gain attention, and to understand that if all those black groups unite, and I think that might have been his goal, why he called it a coalition. But if it comes down to a street fight, white people, you're not going to fare as well as you might think. And there are so many on both sides wanting civil war, and that's just, first of all, if there's a civil war, who's to say it should be black against white, other than the white racists that don't like the black people? And not all black people are for a civil war. Not all white people are for a civil war. So it's going to be confusing who's on whose side, and it's just it turns my stomach to even think about the possibility. But the possibility is very real in this climate. And until we get leaders, real leaders, that are trying to do something about it, instead of just, in some cases, egging it on, we live in dangerous times. We live in dark times. And again, 19 years ago, 9/11, 2001, and we haven't progressed. We haven't progressed as a people. Not near enough. Not near enough. Let's see. Who helped Trump get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize? NFAC did. Okay, as far as I know, Trump was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize by a far right-winged Danish member of the Danish Parliament, and who's anti-immigrant, anti-everything but white men. Okay, I don't know anything about that, how the NFAC helped Grandmaster Jay, or how Grandmaster Jay and the NFAC would help Trump get a peace prize. I said I did question when Grandmaster Jay told people not to vote, because he has a whole lot of influence. A lot of people listening to him, and without the black vote, Trump will be reelected. Now, and then when I said that, some people said no vote without reparations and without real action, and I understand the sentiment behind that, but I don't see. I really don't see how the NFAC helped Trump get nominated. I don't understand how you can put people into boxes. I'm not trying to put anybody into boxes. I'm trying to break down the walls of the boxes so people see that we have so much more in common than we do that divides us. And if it comes across as I'm putting people in boxes, I'm generalizing, and I apologize if that's offensive. It's not intentional. Brianna was on the wrong side of the law. She slept with animals and caught fleas. Stay off drugs, folks. The legal life is pretty smooth until folks get insane and riot. Okay, Browning. Even if she was a drug dealer, it doesn't give police the right to kill you. Okay? No. I mean, even if somebody is, even if somebody is proven to have done something really wrong, because you're based on conjectures, and you're based on internet internet shows, and even if she was a drug dealer, police don't get to kill drug dealers. They don't get to be judge, jury, and executioner. They do, but they shouldn't, and that's one of the things that that people are upset about. And the focus is on people of color at the moment, but it happens to white people too. It does. It's wrong. It's wrong no matter who it happens to. So what if Floyd was on fentanyl, that racist cop hunted him down and murdered him? Do you agree? Yes, I do. Yeah, it doesn't matter if he just smoked a joint, if he was on fentanyl, it doesn't matter. The cop had his knee on the guy's neck until he stopped breathing. Didn't you see it? Yeah, we did. We saw it. But now it's like, as I said in the very beginning, it's more about everything's focused on justifying the police's behavior instead of investigating the wrongdoing. It's the old smoke and mirrors, don't pay attention to what the left hand while what the right hand's doing. It should not happen to Breonna or even a white woman. No one should be killed in their home the way Breonna did. I totally agree with that. It doesn't matter. Skin color doesn't matter. It really doesn't. We are all guilty of monolithic thinking. We are all guilty of thinking that all white people are like this, that all black people are like this, that all Hispanics are like this, that all Native Americans are like this. And we're not. We're all individuals. We all think differently, feel differently, and there's so much fear, and there's so much ignorance, and there's so much hate coming from all people that we forget that we're human beings. We all, we're human beings, and too much and too often things are used to divide us. And I'm just trying to knock some of those things down. You need mods. I don't have any moderators, and I've never monitored the chat. I have never I've never pulled a comment. I've never deleted a comment. I don't even know if I can do that. If comments get deleted, they're deleted by YouTube, not by me. And maybe, and Renee, maybe you're right. I do need a moderator or two when doing live, but I don't want to impact anyone's freedom of speech. People have the right to hate me. People have the right to question me. People have the right to say whatever they want. That's what the flag and the country are supposed to mean. Okay, what the flag means now is totally different from 9/11. Totally different from when I grew up as a kid. But I still hold on to the ideas that America should be based, and this flag should be based on equality, peace, and freedom. And as long as any community in America does not have justice, does not have freedoms, then there's not going to be peace for anyone in America. And the majority of the blame falls on the shoulders of of white people who have white privilege, who don't understand that they're even, they many of them don't consider themselves racist or prejudiced. And it takes a lot of empathy to look at yourself and say, how am I thinking so wrong? And especially when you don't even believe you're racist, and it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable topic, and it's okay to make people uncomfortable. So that's why I don't. That's why I don't shut anybody down or delete anything in the comments. LJ, sir, I salute you. For me, I just think a lot of people of white race just don't want to hear about what black people have to deal with on a daily basis. I think you're exactly right, LJ, and that's why I keep inviting people of color onto the show, so that, because I've said before, 75% of white people do not have a regular conversation with anyone of color, brown, black, any shade of pigment. And I'm told, oh, that's absolutely crazy. And if you live in the city, that would sound crazy. But in states like Indiana, for example, I ran in the 6th congressional district. There are 19 counties in that district. It's roughly the size of the state of New Hampshire. It's like running for governor in New Hampshire. It's a big area. And I could list you 1,000 towns in that one congressional district out of 365 in the nation. I could list you 1,000 towns in that one congressional district where they do not have a person of color, let alone a community of people of color. There are more Hispanics in the district, but still, the white people don't have any interaction with the Hispanics on the most part. So you're exactly right. White people don't have a clue. I don't know if they don't want to know. I think a lot of them put their head in the sand and just lump everyone together. But you're exactly right. White people don't want to listen. A lot of white people don't want to listen to why communities of color are feeling the way they are. And that's such a simple thing to do. It's such a simple thing to do, to just listen and have a little compassion. Think maybe that sometimes listening is possibly the most powerful thing we could do. NFAR gets no respect as long as Zimmerman is untouched. That's out of my bounds. Okay. That's what happens in other, in those organizations. As I said, there are a lot more organizations than many people are aware of. And what goes on internally in those organizations, what goes on internally in the NFAC, I don't know anything about, and I don't care to know anything about. I don't report on that. I just observe and report on things that I see happening. Okay. We've been going for almost 40 minutes here. Time flies when I do this. It goes by so quick for me. But I'll take a couple of more questions if anybody has any questions of me. And again, I'd like to have I'd like to have Delta Jane go on and learn about the NFAR. So I feel empathy for our entire nation. It's as if individual reasoning and compassion is gone. I totally agree with that, General. I totally agree with that, and we could get it back very simply, very quickly, very easily, just by listening and reaching out instead of doubting and confronting, because that's what we do too much. We are all Americans. What's best for one is best for all. I prefer to look at it this way, Browning. If there are people that don't have the advantages and opportunities that others have, by raising those advantages and opportunities, a high tide raises all ships. So yeah, if we had equality, if we had justice, if we had opportunities that were balanced, and that's why I had Devontae on the other night. Devontae has his own media organization now, and the Black community in Indianapolis take a lot of pride in that it's their media. And I wanted to bring to light what he was doing, and I think that's why the NFAC is so powerful. Many in the Black community have wrapped their arms around it because it's theirs, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to get off here. My throat's getting a little sore. I woke up this morning with a stuffy nose and a headache, and been feeling kind of it all day. But I'm going to get off here and take some Mountain Dew. Actually, is what I drink. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea. I drink water, and I drink Mountain Dew, and I drink chocolate milk. So I'm going to get off of here, and I thank you all. If there was something that I missed, and you want to reach out, because I don't go back through comments, and I can't. I can read the comments that are up here live, but I can't respond to them. I can't respond to you individually. I can only respond to the ones that are posted after we do the live, when it's rebroadcast, and I don't go through those. So if you want to reach out, American Doofus on Facebook, you can message me there, or you can email americandoofus@gmail.com, or we're going to do a couple of lives every week, so you can hold your question if I missed it, and I'll be back on here talking. Silence is violence, I was told, so I'm talking, and I'm hoping that sowing the seeds of peace and justice and equality will help. I'm not sure what else I can do, and if you have suggestions on what I should be doing other than just sitting and talking, don't hesitate to let me know. I love you all, I really do. I wish nothing but peace to every person in our nation. I wish nothing but blessings upon every person in our nation and every person around the world. I really do. I love you all, and I love these talks, and I'm not going to censor anybody ever. Feel free to come on and say what you want. That's what's going to happen with our guests, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be put in this opportunity to have a little bit of a platform. And I thank you all again. And until next time, it is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Try to love each other more, and have a little less hate in your hearts. And by all means, whatever you do, stay alive and don't be a doofus. Until next time.